What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to today's group training. Today we're going over silencing your inner critic. I'm super excited about getting into this training because this was a massive paradigm shift that I experienced once I realized this, and this is something that I want to talk to you guys about. So, what is an inner critic? The inner critic is that voice in our head, that wants us to stay the same, that keeps you stuck, stagnant, and questioning yourself. If that voice that whispers that you're not good enough, you can't do this, trying to sabotage your growth, I also believe the inner critic is that voice that says, "Oh, we can sleep in. Oh, we're tired." Anytime there's that voice in your head that's telling you like to either opt out of the work, or telling you you're not good enough, or coming up with excuses not to do the work, I believe all that is the inner critic. Any voice in your head that's trying to hold you back from doing the work that we need to do is the inner critic, in my perspective. Some people call it different things, like the devil and the angel sitting on our shoulder. I believe like that are like whispering in our ear. I believe like the devil is our inner critic, and the angel is like our conscience. Your conscience is pulling you towards like doing all these things that'll make you feel proud, and then the devil is just like, nah, we can self-sabotage, it's not a big deal, you can just take a hit. So I know some people call it different things. I like to just call it the inner critic. I don't know. You know, whatever that voice is. Religious people might even view it as a spiritual battle between the angel and the devil being the critic and the angel being your conscience. Here's the truth, though, and this is a concept that a lot of you guys might not agree with, but sometimes I don't even think that we think our own thoughts. I believe it's our inner critic and then our conscience, and then we're in between our inner critic and conscience trying to reason with both, because they're both on the extreme. The inner critic's like, we're a piece of shit, and the conscience is like, we gotta be the best version of ourselves. We gotta drop the body fat. We gotta eat better. So it's like your conscience is pulling you towards this righteous person, and then your inner critic is trying to keep you worse. And so I believe that we don't even think our own thoughts. When we realize this, then we're like in between the angel and the devil, and we're trying to reason with both of them and like come up with what we think would be the best. But I think we should just conscious congruency will always be the best, doing what our conscience is pulling us towards. You know, the critic and your conscience are constantly battling inside your head. Instead of the angel and the demon or the devil, it's in my eyes, it's the inner critic and the conscience. The conscience is the right of good, the inner critic is evil. Okay? Battling inside your head, and you're caught in the middle, trying to reason with both sides. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is just what I do. The critic often digs up past regrets. The critic is going to dig up the shit that you did in the past that was shameful. The critic's going to remind you of your traumas and your mistakes, using them as ammo to keep you feeling small. Okay? So we're going to talk about how to strip our inner critic of all of its ammo. But, I want to talk a little bit more. There's good news. You can silence your inner critic. You can stop it from controlling your thoughts, your actions, and your life. You'll never, I believe, whatever, it's just maybe I'm my own little philosopher. I believe we will never be able to kill our inner critic. It will always be there, but we can strengthen the voice. The goal is, I don't think we can kill our inner critic, but I do think we can shrink its influence over us. Um, while you won't be able to completely eliminate it, you can weaken its grip and strengthen your conscience voice. And I'm going to break down the step-by-step process. All right, guys? Anybody have any questions so far about what I just laid out? I know I kind of like this might be a little nuanced to people. Anybody watching on the live, if you're watching on the replay, if you have any questions, just hit me up, leave a comment. But I want to explain this into a way that resonates and really makes sense. So the goal, again, guys, is not to kill our inner critic. The goal is to recognize it, confront it, and ultimately shrink its influence. Okay? Now I'm going to get into the four-step process of how to do this. Okay? Step one is awareness. Okay? Acknowledge that you have an inner critic. It's not about pretending it doesn't exist or ignore it. The first step, and it's not about thinking that inner voice is actually you either. The first step is admitting that the critic is a part of your life and understanding that it's not all of its thoughts are really yours. Once you're aware of this voice, you can begin the process of silencing. The first step, I believe, It's awareness and just admitting that you have this inner critic, you have this devil inside you. Okay? Everybody has it, unless you're like an angel. Okay? Understanding that the critic will always be with you. You won't ever eliminate the critic 100%, but you can make the voice quieter and less influential. It will never completely go away, but through awareness, you take the first step into weakening it. I mean, maybe eventually after 10, 20 years of self-development work, after 10, 20 years of listening to that voice, our conscience, maybe we will kill it. But I mean, I've been in the self-development thing for a while, and it's still there, guys. It's still there with all the people. I think everybody, even at the top level, still have an inner critic. Okay, step two, we're getting into the real shit, guys. Step one was to be aware that there is an inner critic, and I wanted you to say that even understand the concept of the angel and the devil a little bit. Like, be aware that those aren't even your thoughts, you know? There's an inner critic inside you that thinks its own thoughts, and there's a conscience inside you that thinks its own thoughts, and then there's you trying to reason between them. If you can just kind of believe that, you know, there's no scientific proof of that, but if you could just kind of believe that, it's going to help with this process. That inner critic, those thoughts aren't your thoughts. It's trying to make you think that those are your thoughts. And we're in between the devil and the angel trying to be like, what is really going on? All right? Hope this is making sense because I'm getting chills. I like talking about this shit. So step two, guys, is to name your inner critic. This might seem a little silly, but you want to give it a degrading name. When you name it something ridiculous, you take its power away automatically. I call mine Squirt or Little Squirt. So anytime my inner critic speaks out, I'm able to address it like, hey, Squirt, and I'm automatically empowered over it. If you were to just be like, you know, if you were to just think it's you and try to reason and you're fighting with yourself, you're just going to dig yourself down because you're like arguing with yourself. So if you could try to separate these entities of you, your conscience, and your inner critic, and like you guys are kind of like separate entities a little bit. And when your inner critic speaks out, which it's going to speak out throughout the day, you address it and you call it what you want to call it. Name it something that makes you chuckle. Name it something that, you know, will make you feel empowered over it. Okay? You can name it whatever you want. I name mine Squirt. Don't take my name. Make it your own. You know, I've had clients do idiot, bitch boy, you know, whatever. You know, I mean, you don't. It doesn't have to be that degrading because you're kind of like talking to yourself and like it's almost you might flip this thinking that you're actually talking shit to yourself. But that's why I want you to differentiate and understand that this is like a separate entity. That inner critic is not. You're not really talking shit to it. You're not really degrading you. You're trying to just separate it from your conscience and your inner thoughts. Your authenticity of your inner thoughts. I hope this is making sense. So I want you guys to name your inner critic. Hurry up and name it. Write something down. You guys don't have to tell me what you name your inner critic, but I want this is like the process I want us to do. Step one is awareness. Step two is to name your inner critic. Why does this work? You will separate it from yourself. Now, instead of feeling like your thoughts are attacking you, you're addressing a separate entity, one that's small and manageable. Okay? We need to be above that shit and be like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about? You're wrong. We're gonna get into that. So then after being aware and after naming it, the next step is to have a polite conversation. You don't want to argue with the inner critic. Approach it with love because you're kind of arguing with yourself if you do that. If your inner critic's like, you're not good enough, you remember this past shit that you did, you're a piece of shit. And then you're like, no, fuck you, like that's wrong. Like if you keep arguing, like you're going to be in your head arguing with yourself, and that's going to lower your vibration. That's going to lower you into a shame, guilt mindset. So we can't argue with our inner critic. You know, we really just have to have an appropriate, positive conversation. If you start arguing with your inner critic, you give it more power because then it's like you're showing more of your dark side because whatever you release, you possess. You don't argue with people, you give them love and just let them know what you think. Any type of negativity that you release, it's also going to be inside of you. So don't hit your inner critic with negativity, okay? When you question yourself or your inner critic questions yourself, am I good enough? Can I really do this? You dig yourself into a deeper hole of doubt and uncertainty. And same with just arguing with your inner critic. When it speaks out and you're like, no, you're wrong, um, you have to be careful with how you say those things to yourself, because I believe that it is possible to have a very civil conversation with your inner critic and really rationalize how it's not making sense and you are making sense, and it's just going to silence it. So have a conversation, guys. Address the critic by its silly name. So when it does speak out, you address it by its name first, and ask why it's bringing these things up. You need to actually draw it. When it calls you a piece of shit, when it calls you things, be like, why are you saying that? And then it's gonna bring up past ammo. You know, it's gonna bring up things like, hey, you remember you did this shit? You remember you did this shit? It's gonna have all the past trauma and the things that you did that you regret from your past. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. But then you guys got to show it the receipts. You've been in the program for a couple months now. If you're watching this on the live or on the replay, if you've been in the program a little bit, doing self-development work and investing in yourself, you show your inner critic that. Be like, hey, look at this. Look at the receipt. I paid a coach. Here's the transaction. Look at this. Look at the work I put in over here. You need to show it its receipts. You need to show it because it's going to show you your receipts from your past, from the shit you did, fucked up to somebody. You maybe crossed somebody. You maybe done something that you regret. Whatever it is, it's going to bring up those receipts. But as long as those receipts are in the past, guys, the first thing is you guys got to forgive yourself from all your past regret that you've done. And as long as you're not currently doing things that you regret, you're not going to give your inner critic more ammo. If you're doing things that you regret throughout the day, whatever, jerking off, watching porn, drinking, drugs, any type of vice, if you're doing things that you regret, you're giving your inner critic ammo. And it's going to be super hard to silence your inner critic when you keep giving it ammo. The only ammo that your inner critic has is all the shit from your past, hopefully, okay? If you're in my program, a big thing I like to talk is it's all habits. And if we have habits that we regret, it's got to be removed. It's got to be removed if you have habits you regret, okay? Because you're just giving your inner critic more ammo. So we're going to show the receipts of the self-development work, of you investing in yourself, of you making results inside the program, of you getting stronger, of you meal prepping. We're going to show it all the receipts of all the positive acts. You just show it. You have all these memories inside your head. You just show it the receipts in this polite conversation that you're having. This making sense? Are you guys resonating with this? All right. Hope you guys are getting value. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Kevin. Let's get it. So, reminded of everything you've done to grow and improve yourself. Literally show it the receipts, I think it's very powerful to actually show it the financial receipts, the money that you put in, because the financial investment is the clearest indicator of self-love. Like if you love yourself, you're going to keep investing in yourself because you know that investment, that monetary investment is going to make you uncomfortable. It's proof. It's proof to your subconscious that you're serious about your growth. You giving your hard-earned money to me or another mentor or another self-development program, you doing that and remembering that and keeping it as a receipt log in your brain and showing your inner critic like, look, I spend my hard-earned money so I can become 1% better each day. Look at this transaction, look at this transaction. Anytime you buy anything that will get you closer to your goals, whether it's protein powder, boom, any type of financial thing that you guys are doing that's going to help you get better, that's a receipt that you can show your inner critic. Because trust me, if you're like me, it's gonna bring back its receipts. And as long as its receipts are from the past, and you can just forgive yourself. I want you guys to understand this is that I believe everything happens for a reason. You had to do that shameful act. You had to do shit you regret so you could become the person that you are now, so you could be in this program. Like everything happens for a reason. If you can also understand this concept, it's going to help with this process. So again, address the critic when it speaks out, address it by its silly name that you've given it, and ask it why it's bringing up these feelings of doubt and fear. Then show it the receipts of all your self-development work. Remind it of everything that you've done to grow and improve. Your critic might show you its receipts too. Past regrets, shame, mistakes, but this is where you can take control. Show it that you're no longer the person who made those mistakes. You've grown and you are moving forward. This is key to shifting the power dynamic into your favor. So that's why if you guys are still doing things that you regret, because there might be something lingering, you just know that that is giving your inner critic ammo. Like, I'm just speaking from my own experience, you know. Uh, I know it's sometimes hard, you know, if we do things every once in a while that we regret, but if I'm not gonna like come down on you guys doing something every once in a while, you know, doing something that you might regret. But if you're doing things consistently that you regret, even if it's negative self-talk, even if it's anger, even if it's anything that gives you instant gratification but later you regret. Think anything that you do that gives you instant gratification but later you regret could be giving your inner critic ammo. Okay? Stop accumulating regret. That's step number 4. I know I've been fucking. Oops, didn't mean to cuss. I don't regret cussing though, but that just blurted out. Step number 4: remove what you regret. Hell yeah, Jason just got off a 5-mile bike ride. When your inner critic speaks out, be like, bro, I just went on a 5-mile bike ride. You know that I love myself immensely. I just spent the time to go do this cardio, and because I love myself. So inner critic, like, what are you talking about? Haven't you seen what I've been doing? Like, this is the conversation I get in with myself. I'm like, haven't you been seeing how much work I've been putting in? Haven't you seen all this money I've invested into mentors? Haven't you seen this and all these people? Like, so you just show it everything that you've been doing, and it's gonna weaken that fucking voice. But the main thing is, guys, that voice is never gonna weaken unless we stop accumulating more regret. Even if you're procrastinating something that you know you should be doing, regret can be in disguise. Like, so if you're still doing things that make you feel ashamed or guilty, like negative self-talk, toxic habits, procrastination, you're giving your inner critic fuel and ammo. You need to start building pride. Focus on doing things that make you feel proud. The more we stack wins throughout the day, small or big, the quieter your inner critic will become. It takes time, especially if you've been living with shame and regret for years. But each time you do something that aligns with growth, you strip away your inner critic's ammunition. Okay? So I believe that Marcus Aurelius, one of my favorite quotes, is straight, not straightened. Straight, not straightened. Is like, guys, we will never be straightened. We will never be straightened. We have to, our self-worth is earned every day. Because of tomorrow, if we go out and drink and do drugs and go get a prostitute and go kick a kitten, like that day, we're going to accumulate so much regret and shame, like we're not going to be straight anymore. So that's why every day we got to get straight with this process in the program where we wake up, we do our 15-minute morning routine, we do a little mobility, a little bit of cardio, we track our nutrition, we do our workouts, we work on our mindset, we have positive self-talk while we're doing these things. This is how we stack wins throughout the day. See, we're doing these things that make us feel proud instead of other things that make us feel regret. Because the more things that we can make us feel proud, the more ammo we're going to have to dish out to our inner critic. Boom. All right, bonus tips, guys. Any questions so far? Is this all making sense to people? Any questions so far? And if anybody's struggling with this, any step they have question with so far, so there's the awareness step, there's the name your inner critic, and there's the polite conversation. And then there's the remove regret. Is everybody, we're on the same page? Everybody can do all these things? Anybody feeling like they might struggle with one of these? Mm-hmm. All right. So bonus, embrace your past. I spoke on this a little bit, but understand that your past mistakes happen for a reason. It's okay. Like this, I truly believe everything happened for a reason. Even the sad, and it's hard to fucking, admit it, but even the sad, fucked up shit happened for a reason. Because if it didn't happen, you wouldn't be the person you are today. You know, everything has like a butterfly effect. Like that person did that, that you fucked that, this happened, and now you became the person to get inside my program and really start taking your fitness serious, really start taking your nutrition serious, and you might have never been that person to do this now if you didn't make those past mistakes. Struggling with regret, for sure. So Kevin, have you removed everything that you regret currently? Are you doing anything currently that you are regretting? And we're going to get into helping that a little bit too. And the thing is, guys, you've only been on this journey a little bit. You know, you might have been accumulating regret the majority of your life. And you've just been in my program for a few months or doing the right things for a few months. It takes longer than a few months. It takes longer than a few years. You know, I've been doing this for maybe like half a decade almost. And, you know, the inner critic is still there. I still struggle with regret. It's always going to be kind of a struggle for some people more than others. But the more that we can follow this process and keep removing what we regret and adding what makes us feel proud, we're going to step above our inner critic. But Kevin, I don't know if you want to share it on here. You don't have to. You can message me privately if you want. But if if you're not, are you currently doing anything presently that you regret? Because we have to remove what we regret, and a lot of times this is very hard to do. But your conscience is telling you regret isn't a choice. We don't have a choice to regret things. If we if we do something and we regret it, that's your guideline to remove it. You're not supposed to be feeling regret. All right? So embrace your past. Understand that your past mistakes happen for a reason. Sometimes you had to hit rock bottom to realize you needed to change. Maybe you had to make those mistakes to become the person you are now. Working on yourself and pushing to grow. Forgive yourself. You know, this is a hard one for me and a hard one for a lot of people. You know, you have to forgive yourself from your fucked up shit that you did in the past. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't let your past haunt you, because we're not going that way. We're not going that way. This is like a massive mindset shift that you can understand. We are not going that way. We're going this way. So fuck the past. We're going the other way. So there's no way to, we don't need to look back, keep looking back. We're looking forward. Okay? I wish I could articulate that in a better way. We're not going that way. We're going this way. So forgive yourself. The person you are today is not the same person who made those mistakes. So forgive yourself on a deep level and keep moving forward. You're not defined by your past. You're defined by your progress, you know? And a lot of you guys watching this in the live and watching on the replay have made massive progress that you need to be proud of, okay? And that's going to stump on your regret. Summary of the steps. Recognize the inner critic exists. Name it. Give your inner critic a silly ass name. Degrade the little. Name it and make it feel small. Polite conversation and address it by its silly name and engage with it calmly. Show it your progress. Don't argue. Remove regret. Stop doing things that feel regret. Focus on actions that build pride. Bonus tip. Embrace your past. Understand your mistakes had to happen to lead you to grow. Okay? Any questions, guys? Any questions? I feel like this is a powerful ass training. And if you guys take this seriously, it could really help with the internal dialogue. Kevin, I've struggled with regret a lot too. So I know how that is. And I'm not a therapist. I'm just a dude that has experienced life, and I just think that self-development is the key. You know, I truly believe that the meaning of life is you know, is how you feel, is how you look, you know. Just think, how much of a better experience of life is it going to be if you look good and feel good? Because if you look like shit and feel like shit, you're going to experience life way worse than someone like me who feels good and looks good. So that's what I believe, that you need to acquire what you admire. You admire someone that has muscles, that's lean, that's confident, that treats people with respect, that has like whatever you admire, that's what you need to acquire. And it's not really about acquiring, it's about becoming. This process that we're doing every day, showing up for ourselves, positive habits, positive actions, positive self-talk. You're becoming this person. We're trying to unlearn this person that's been accumulating regret, and we're becoming this person that's super proud of themselves. It doesn't take 6 months. It takes more like 6 years. Sorry, but I just want to be direct with you. People ask, I'm just trying to help, and I'm just trying to articulate my point the best I can. I hope this resonates. I hope this made sense. But I feel like if you guys let it, this can be very powerful. All right. Any questions? Anybody have anything else they want to bring up before I end this training? All right. Well, hope you guys got value, and I will see you guys next week, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Oh, hell yeah, Kevin. I'm glad. And message me, guys. You can message me privately if you want help with any of these steps, or if you want a little bit more dive a little bit deeper into this training. If there's anything I can help you guys with, like this is a powerful training, and I want you guys to review this. I'll be sending everybody the worksheet and the video replay. And I believe the 4-step process of silencing your inner critic, it can really change your mindset if you can really understand this concept of that your inner critic, those aren't your thoughts, your conscience, those aren't your thoughts, and you're just in there trying to reason with them. Your conscience is that voice of God. I don't even really believe in God, but your conscience is like God, pure. And then your inner critic is like dark, demon. Okay? So we got this shit, guys. We need to stop doing what we regret, doing what we're proud of, and continuing to become this person that we want to be. Less body fat, more muscle, more confident, more strong. Whatever you admire, that's what we're going to acquire, and we're going to become that person through this process. Hell fucking yeah. Appreciate you guys. Have a great night. Have the best night of your fucking life, and I'll see you guys next week.